as it gives green light for official campaigning ahead of December 7 primaries.
Times are hard. It will be very offensive for Ghanaians to see flamboyant campaigns, even when they are living in penury.
The party is also demanding decorum in the campaign on a day one of its MPs described his colleagues who support Mahama as ignorant.
These are what? Ignorance people. Those who are so-called following Mahama, they are ignorant. They don't know how to campaign. And that's why we lost. And he's still maintaining those people. And that's why he's going to lose.
Traders Association blames government for attacks between Ghanaian and Nigerian spare parts dealers as a scheduled clampdown on foreigners in retail business is suspended.
The suspension of the deadline was not managed well. The people's expectation was so high, so it provoked a lot of people.
But they can also take the law into their own hands.
Oh wow, if the law is not working, then it gives people advantage also to use the same law as a weapon.
We have details from a meeting between the traders and the police and government reaction to this development. We'll also tell you about how the first day at work of the newly sworn-in EC chairperson Jean Mensah and her deputies has been like, with a heavy workload outlined for them by the president.
Organized referenda in the 6 areas of the demand for the creation of new regions. The 2019 District Assembly election, the registration of eligible voters, and the conduct of the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections.
And in business, directors of some of the defunct banks could be put under investigations as well as possible prosecution.
Coach of Hearts of Oak says halting football activities in the country will not deter him from putting his team in the best of shapes ahead of the unknown.
And then later on the flip side, we go in search of the missing virgins in the church.
Virgins are missing in the church.
Join us with your views and comments on that and more here on News Night. You can join us via WhatsApp 0244340437. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am Emefa Apau.
Details after this break.
Okay, Kwesi, for the grand prize, answer this final question. Which of these electronic services does Bond offer for your convenience? A. Internet banking. B. Inward remittances. C. ATM services via GH Link. D. Mobile money services. E. All the above and more.
E. All the above and more.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner! For your convenience, Bond provides you with internet banking, inward remittances, ATM services via GH Link, and mobile money services. Bond is dedicated to providing you with all the banking solutions you require so you can attain your dreams. Bond gives you the appropriate financial services, investment products, and advice. Contact Bond on 0303-214-444 or visit Bond at www.bond.com.gh. Bond. Your success, our passion.
Don't come. Hey, 10 pesos. 10 pesos. Vodafone is 10 years old and is giving you an anniversary gift of 10 times bonus and 10 pesos call rate across networks. Browse for 10 pesos per megabyte. Call Vodafone or any other network at the same rate of 10 pesos per minute. That's not all. Share your scratch card with 2 more people the Kikimi style, and the 3 of you will each enjoy 10 times the value of your card. Dial *135# to subscribe. Terms and conditions apply.
The future is exciting. Ready?
Hey, Yinchi, I noticed that all the national stadia in Ghana have lasted for decades.
Oh, yes. But do you also know that the concrete bridges are also decades old?
Yes.
Only one company in Ghana can give you that guarantee, and that is Gasem.
Cement that guarantees smooth finishing of plastering.
That is the Gasem Super Rapid 32.5R. If you want to have strong blocks for any form of construction, use Gasem Super Strong 42.5R. For your time-tested bridges like the Adome, multi-story buildings, highways like the motorway, then it is Gasem Extra 42.5N.
And the good news is, all these cement products are made right here in Ghana.
Gasem, 3 cement grades, unique quality. Gasem, the nation builder.
Joy 99.7 FM.
You're welcome back. This is News Night here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the National Democratic Congress is cautioning its presidential aspirants against extravagant expenditure as it gives the green light for official campaigning to begin. The party will on 7th December hold primaries to elect a flag bearer. Now, ahead of that, it will also hold a congress on 21st September for national executive elections.
Well, the campaign ahead of the race has been heating up, with some MPs declaring their support for John Mahama. At the media briefing today, General Secretary of the party, Johnson Ketia, cautioned members against aligning party structures with various candidates.
If I heard them well, they never declared the support of the parliamentary caucus. The parliamentary caucus is the structure of the party in parliament. But individuals can declare their support one way or the other. Much the same way, we have a women's wing, for instance. It will be offensive for anybody to declare that the women's wing of NDC supports candidate A or B. But if you are a national women's organizer or regional women's organizer, you can declare your support to anybody you want to declare your support to. We want to urge leadership of the party at all levels not to attempt to commit the structures of the party to any one candidate. The party structure will remain neutral.
Well, Mr. Johnson Ketia also observed that some of the presidential candidates have spoken in indecent manners already, but they would henceforth begin monitoring.
The party has taken note of some pronouncements that have gone on earlier on by people who were shall I say, pretending to be flag bearers. And we realized that some of the utterances have not been in good taste. Now that we have officially opened the campaign, we will be monitoring. And we want to caution all those persons who want to lead this party to conduct a campaign that is decent, that is decorous in terms of the choice of language, and that is devoid of personal attacks. We would want to hear your vision and mission about your proposed leadership that will enable the party members to take a decision about your suitability or otherwise. Whilst at it, we also want to repeat our earlier caution that times are hard. It will be very offensive for Ghanaians to see flamboyant campaigns, even when they are living in penury. And so we are urging our proposed contestants that they should be modest in their campaigns and in their outdoor advertisements. That will be consistent with the values of NDC as a social democratic party.
Well, of course, he's been cautioning, as you just heard, that individuals to be civil. Even as he does that, NDC MP for Yonyo, Joseph Nabu, has launched a scathing attack on MPs who have, in the last few weeks, been collecting signatures to endorse John Mahama's candidature. Now, he's been describing them as ignorant in this interview with Joseph Opoku-Gakpo.
The leadership of the House, that's both MPP and DC, our leadership, they also bring in papers, A4 papers, for us to write our names, our constituency, and sign to show that you are on the floor of Parliament. So now, Mahama's boys, they took advantage of that. Are you getting me? And they hid behind that rule, the attendance rule, and then also brought in A4 papers. And then MPs were signing, thinking that that is the attendance sheet. That is where the problem is.
Okay. So that for you, if they had genuinely gone around soliciting for support for that document, they wouldn't have gone. They
couldn't have gotten that now. They would have all gotten 26. We know the members of Parliament who are supporting Mahama.
And there are how many of them? 26?
There are only 26. I'm telling you, you will not believe it. And let me tell you, those 26 are the people He made ministers, deputy ministers, chief executive of district or the district assembly, chief executive of the government institutions. They are the people paying allegiance to him, and they are only 26 we checked. Now, so I want to say that why I use the word deceit and fraud and falsehood was that they did not make it clear. The MPs who were Sunday, no, these particular people, if you are endorsing former President Mama, you sign. But if you are not endorsed, then sign. Like the way they came here to tell me. So they didn't tell them so. So that's where the problem is. The bone of contention is from that issue.
Okay. So that then for these activities of fraud and deceit happening within the ranks of your party and parliament,
well, I would
what impact what impact could they have on the general front if people are being misrepresented?
No. These are what? Ignorance people. Those who are so-called fully mama, they are ignorant. They don't know how to campaign. And that's why we lost. And he's still maintaining those people. And that's why he's going to lose.
Why do you say so?
I'm telling you, from my point of view.
You think they shouldn't have done this?
They shouldn't have done that. No, that's what I'm saying. That like you've asked me to come and have an interview with me. I say, come to my office. You came. This is not fraud. You told me the interview you are going to have with me, so I'm aware. So I prepared my mind before I'm talking to you. So what I'm saying is that the MPs who hide behind the attendance sheet and other peoples and members sign and will knowingly, they should have informed them, look, now, some people were calling me this morning, I think they are Muhammad's boys, that if I didn't take time, they will send an independent people to come and contest on me, on my constituency. They will get people to challenge me on my primaries. And I told them, look, that is over my dead body. I don't care. My constituency is a different place. Every constituency has got a dynamic. If in events I lose my primaries or general election, probably my performance makes me to lose, but not because of Muhammad's boys.
But who exactly called you?
I don't want to mention names because some of them are my colleagues, MPs.
Okay.
So you heard the Nyonyo MP there, but MP for Talensi, BT Baba, has been disputing the claim that they deceived MPs into signing that document.
Well, I think the claim is false. Looking at me with my age and experience in public life, who can force me, who can coerce me, who can use any deceitful method to get me to sign a document without looking at the heading of the document or reading the document to know what it is all about. It is totally false.
So talk of endorsement, Evans. The former Foreign Affairs Minister, Ambassador Victor Gbeho, guess who is declaring his support for?
Professor Joshua Alabi.
Okay.
And my brother and I sat down one afternoon by the riverside in Sugarcombe. We thought a lot about our party. We thought a lot about the younger generation. And we asked ourselves, who can lead us now? After consultation, we agreed that our best hope was in no other person than Professor Joshua.
Well, that's Victor Gbeho there, of course, endorsing Joshua Alabi. Let's get some political insight into what is happening. Let's speak to Stephen Ahiawodo. He's a senior political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. Mr. Ahiawodo, thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, my brother.
What do you make of all that we've just heard is happening within the NDC ahead of their primary?
Well, it's so interesting that a lot of issues are coming out of so-called endorsement or alleged endorsement by some people, some MPs of the National Democratic Congress. I think that, generally speaking, in a democratic dispensation like ours, there is all stakeholders, members of a political party, have their right to decide or to determine who they want to lead them into an election, particularly presidential candidates. This is not the first time that people are coming up asking to be nominated or to be elected to lead their parties. Since 1992, we have had the same rituals every 4 years. And so I don't see anything untoward if somebody, a group of people, decide that they have a preferred candidate and they want to sell such a candidate.
But when you begin to hear from what we heard from the MP for Yonyo that he was deceived into signing an endorsement form to back John Mahama in Parliament by his own colleagues?
You see, I am surprised at the kind of angle from which Honorable Nabu is coming. It is normal. It is not normal for somebody as educated as him, excuse me to say that he signs documents just because they told him it's an attendance sheet. I beg to differ from that kind of position. I think that as an MP, he ought to be very meticulous, and that anything that he's signing, at least he should see a heading. I think that he has a personal issue or problem with John Dramani Mahama, and he brings that to the fore in every forum that Honorable Nabu finds himself.
But how I'm wondering how you come to that conclusion that he has something against the man.
I have listened to him on several occasions, not just this evening. Anytime John Mahama's name is mentioned, it is as if some fire has been poured on him, and he begins to rant and to talk, and he's referring to his colleagues as Mahama boys. That is not decent enough.
In fact,
I think that if he has his own preferred candidate, he has all the right to project such a candidate and let Ghanaians or NDC members who will be voting in December decide who they want to lead them.
Just a second on the line, because my colleague Joseph Gakpo, who spoke to him, has further information on that. Joseph, did you ask him who his own preferred candidate is?
He was categorical that he's backing Alban Bagbin, the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, for the position. And he made the point that he has, even his colleagues in Parliament are aware that he is a backer of Alban Bagbin, and that's how come he was surprised that the conversation going around him signing the form himself. But just to clear that bit again, he denies that he ever signed that form, and he's denying that he ever said that he signed that form. He only says he explained how they got others to sign onto the form, but
he personally didn't sign onto
because
it.
Everyone knows him to be pro Bagbin, and that a number of MPs, including John Jinapor, actually came to his office to seek to get him to back John Mahama's candidature, and he told them they know he's for Bagbin, so they wouldn't expect him to sign that particular document.
Mr. Hodo, so that's a clarity there.
Yes, I understand. And I think, as I said, so that confirms the angle from which I'm coming, that it looked like Honorable Nabu has an issue, a problem, and I may even refer to it as maybe a sore grip, because he refers to them as Mahama boys who have benefited from appointment. I think that if he has a candidate, he should just project the positive aspect of his candidate. Because, like I can assure him, come December, NDC members are going to make a choice. The choice may be whoever he thinks, or it may be somebody else. But in December, the NDC will definitely have a candidate that will lead them into 2020.
I just wanted to. I just heard you say we. I'm wondering, is this a misuse of words, or it's that you?
I am saying that the NDC members.
NDC members. Okay. Thank you very much. That's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Political Science Department, Mrs. Stephen Ahiawodo. So listen to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM.
Now let's head to the Ashanti Regional Capital because the leadership of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, is blaming government's abrupt suspension of a scheduled clampdown on activities of foreigners in retail business as the cause of alleged attacks on some foreigners. You recall that there were some alleged attacks on Nigerian spare parts dealers in the Ashanti region by their Ghanaian counterpart. The Nigerian spare parts dealers had to seek refuge at the Swami police station for protection. We'll get to hear from the leadership of GUTA shortly, but first, the Ashanti Regional Police Command summoned the leadership of GUTA and the Nigerian spare parts dealers into a meeting in an attempt to resolve the matter. My colleague Nana Asenso Mensah has been following the issue and joins us live. So, Nana, we are told that the meeting ended inconclusively. What do you gather was the reason for that?
MFR, speaking to the Regional Police Commander, DCOP Kwasi Mensah Diku, he said today's meeting was successful, but they need to meet the entire membership of both the Nigerians and the Ghana Union of Traders Association, that's GUTA, to assist further investigations to calm the long-standing feud. That's called for the inconclusive of today's meeting. So ahead of Friday's meeting, that is tomorrow's meeting, the two parties are hopeful their concerns would be addressed amicably. This is what the regional PRO of Guta, Albert Ofemensa, told me in an interview after today's inconclusive meeting.
Tomorrow's meeting, the organization has been taking place. So tomorrow we are going to call all the magazine people to meet the Guta executives across the region. And then at the same time, police commander and his people to meet and discuss how peace we want the magazine to be. And beside that, because of the focus on Monday meeting in Accra, so we hope after tomorrow meeting, we will have a good solution.
But how about the Nigerian counterparts? What have they been telling you, Nana?
Let's listen to what the leadership of the Nigerian spare parts dealers, he's Kizito Ikechukwu Ibira, he had this to say.
Yeah, we met with the regional police commander, and I think by special grace of God, things are going on smoothly. He promised us that the meeting he had with our counterpart, Guta people, went well, and they have all agreed to let them their tools. So I believe if God permits, by tomorrow they will have conclusion in everything, and we will go about doing our businesses. That is his assurance to us.
You heard that the spokesperson of the Nigerian spare parts dealers in Swami. Also, you heard earlier Nanas and so Mensa, my colleague there, who's been following that issue. Meanwhile, the national president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obin, says the abrupt suspension of the scheduled clampdown on the activities of foreign retailers is largely to blame for some of these misunderstandings.
It's not our doing. This thing is coming from the people, the trading community themselves. What happened for the suspension of the deadline was not managed well, because you know that people's expectation was so high that now the thing that they've been fighting for all this year have been given the green light and all that. And then before the suspension, we were not even communicated. Okay. So it provoked a lot of people. So I have to do a lot of pleading. Actually, they have their own timelines that if this thing doesn't work, this is what they are going to do.
But they can also take the law into their own hands.
Oh, wow. If the law is not working, because this is a law, a clear, a legitimate law. If it is not working and we cannot enforce it, then it gives people advantage also to use the same law as a weapon, because the law is being abused. And so this is another weapon for Guta. If this is not ensured, it means that other forms of laws will be broken. We're talking about frustration. The market is being taken away from us. It's as simple as that. And people are not doing this out of fun. We have to work as traders. And then the institutions that are mandated to monitor and enforce these laws should also do their work. Because it's not even our duty to go around chasing somebody out.
But what we've also heard is that the Nigerians are saying that the ECOWAS protocol allows them to sell.
Exactly. So this is where the problem is. And so we have our Ghanaian members of parliament who are representative of the ECOWAS parliament, and then they can't even explain this to the ECOWAS parliament, our sovereign laws, because the ECOWAS protocol is a different thing and sovereign laws are different thing. Because all that the law is saying that, come, bring your goods, trade, and then go. Me, I can also go to Nigeria without any hindrance or whatsoever. But then, it gave a caveat, being that after 90 days, go back to your country. But then, if you want to establish and stay, then you have to get residence permit, as every country do, get work permit, register with the investment laws of the country, and then do your work peacefully. Don't forget that they have gone to ECOWAS court and lost.
You heard that Dr. Joseph Obin, National President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, speaking to Gifty and Apia on the Pulse. Now, government has been reacting, Evans. There's a statement. What does it say?
Well, this is a statement from the Trade Ministry. It's a Trade Ministry and Ghana Union of Traders Association joint statement, and in which it says that government of Ghana has reaffirmed its commitment to support Ghanaians involved in the retail trade sector. In this regard, the Committee on Retail Trade, established in May 2018 to oversee the enforcement of domestic retail legislation, regulations and policies, has been mandated to continue its work with a higher level of executive authority, with the appointment of Alan Chamanting, the Minister of Trade and Industry, as a new chairman of the committee. Also importantly, it observes that the decision was arrived at an emergency stakeholders meeting organized by the ministry, of course, in attendance where stakeholders, including Guta and others, and that they also agreed to include representatives from the Ghana Standards Authority and Food and Drugs Authority on the committee as well.
So that's a statement from government. You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM.
On your desk, Madam Chairperson, will be the recommendations of the report from the Broby Commission of Inquiry on the creation of new regions. The Commission, as per the recommendations of the report, is to organize referenda in the 6 areas of the demand for the creation of new regions. The 2019 District Assembly election, the registration of eligible voters for the 2020 elections, and the conduct of the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections are all matters which are immediately before you.
Now, that's President Akufo-Addo outlining a number of activities that the Electoral Commission needs to undertake within the next 2 years. Now, with all of that on their plate, perhaps it is no wonder that in less than 24 hours after they were sworn in, all the commissioners have begun work in earnest. My colleague Ernest Menu, no pun intended, was at the Electoral Commission's offices and joins us with details. What was the mood at the Electoral Commission office today? From what we understand, they had the first look at Madame Jean Mensah and her 2 deputies.
Their new bosses. It was calm. It was normal. It was a normal day at the Electoral Commission. Everyone going about his or her business today.
Did you see the new commissioners?
Yes, I saw them. I saw all 4, all newly appointed, and the other 3 as well. All 7 of them today. They met at the commission. They arrived there at 12 noon today. When they got there, they exchanged pleasantries with some of the staff. Those are the top management. And they entered into the boardroom for a meeting, and the meeting lasted up until about 5 minutes to 5 p.m. When I left the place. So yes, they met. I saw them after the meeting. Jean Mensah would not speak to us. She sat in her car, drove, and of course, again she spoke to some of the staff at the commission, and they smiled back at her.
I see. And of course, from what we heard yesterday, they were going to first meet with the workers, introduce themselves formally, sort of get strike acquaintances with all the workers. This is what happened. A sort of a start.
Yes, and today's meeting was essentially to sort of acquaint themselves with the workings of the Electoral Commission and have a broad overview of what has been happening and what they need to do. Of course, they are aware they have a lot on their plate, and so they need to, as it were, hit the ground running. So yes, this was to meet as a commission. We have old members of the commission who are much more experienced, and so they needed to pass on some information to the 4 who are new, and so they can work together as a team. But I spoke to one of them, and I'm told that some of them have not handed over officially at the respective institutions where they used to work before the appointment to the Electoral Commission. So they need to do that quickly, and they are hoping that latest by Monday they would settle and begin work at the commission.
What can you say about the reception, for instance, the old meets the new? Did you detect any nerves? What can you say about that?
I can only talk about what I saw after the meeting. Of course, once they moved out of the board meeting, they spoke and it looked good, it looked nice, and they sat in their cars and drove off. I can't say much about that. Yeah.
Ernest Menu, thank you very much. Now it's time for Tech Thursday, and we know about the famous penicillin. It's used to extensively fight bacterial infection, and it was accidentally discovered from a fungus. I'm a science student, by the way, so I'm educating you on that.
When you're reading from a script.
Now, rice falls smut disease can lay waste several hectares of rice fields, as much as 75% loss. But there's a bright side, as the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has successfully used the extracts from this stubborn disease to fight infection. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Kwesi Debra speaks with Judith Anani, a chemistry graduate of the university.
The rice false smut disease is caused by the fungus known as Ustilaginodia virens, or U virens. The disease, which occurs in more than 40 countries, especially in rice-producing countries of Asia, but also in the USA, reduces both grain yield and grain quality. In Ghana, places like Duapompo in the Ejusojaben district and Timaso in the Juraseche district are affected by the disease. The final year thesis, supervised by Dr. John Mensah, set out to separate a pure sample of the fungus.
The standard dexamethasone and diclofenac as my standard. These are the drugs in the market right now that are being used to fight inflammation diseases. So I compared my work, I compared my results. I used my extract on a chick model to see how the results I also get. If I use DEXA, the standard, the DEXA and the diclo, and I use my extract, which one will be best? I got good results. My extract was able to work effectively, like the DEXA, like the diclo that are also in the market.
Judith is still carrying out investigation on other properties of the fungus. Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
That was Tech Thursday with Kwesi Deborah. I'm sure we can do some of your messages that you send via WhatsApp. Is 0244340437. This one from Berima Kubaji says, I'm utterly shocked that a lawmaker would come public and claim he was misled into signing a document. The only person who can deliver victory to the NDC, and the campaign has begun. And this one also says, I'm left in a state of confusion when it comes to certain contracts and deals that government of Ghana signs. This is because I believe the contracts or deals just have interpretations similar to scientific principles. And it goes on. That's from Numana Kenneth Nack Smith there. We can also take some more of your comment. This one says, I think Honorable Nabu, okay, it looks like I can take that one also. It looks we just have to go for business with George Riafe.
Hi, MFA.
Hi, George.
And how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Beautiful shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
What's in business? Why are you blushing?
Oh, MFA.
What's
blushing?
He's forgotten the headlines.
Well, coming up in business, directors of some of the defunct banks to be put under investigations, as well as possible prosecution, and also the National Petroleum Authority arrest 17 persons said to be involved in the smuggling of fuel. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials and stationery. Heaven Plus sets out mosquito spray, pleasant on humans, tough nightmare on insects. United Pension Trustees, My Own Pensions, Pension Papa, and Mark Auto Parts, distributors of Chevy vehicles.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, don't worry, Grandpa. There are still 5 ripe and 15 unripe mangoes on the tree.
That's my boy.
Grandpa, it's still 1.2 kilograms of rice in the container.
My boy. And how much credit did I spend last week?
Well, you spent 5 CDs on calls, 2 megabytes on data, and you sent 5 SMSs.
We are the only network that tells you exactly what you have spent and when you spent it. Dial *545# to access your statement on MTN everywhere you go.
The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us again. From the 1st of August to the 30th of September, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302-764-209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Akusipa, you're still listening to this budget reading. Share, Massa, say budget necessary. Now, what's the sabi? They say, Miss my personal budget. No, I know where dear would dream pension. Hey, where dear 1 man, 1 pension plan. Oh, share, JJ, make what one home now. Sign up to my own pension plan with United Pension Trustees and gain access to higher interest, additional benefits such as savings account and flexible contributions. Where dear pension, papa pow. Secure your future by signing on to my own pension from United Pension Trustees. Go to your MTN Momo menu by dialing *170#. Select option 9 for pensions and insurance. Then option 1 for my own pension. Then you select option 1 to enroll and follow the prompts. Make daily, weekly, and monthly contributions to build your wealth with United Pension Trustees. For further inquiries, call our customer service center on 0242 436 880 or 0302 208 042. My own pension. Pension Papa.
That is the sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mac. Yes, Mac Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars, from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicles stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pocket. Mac Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website, macghana.com. Mac Ghana, with you for the long run.
Joy 99.7 FM, radio for the discerning listener.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnet. And the Bank of Ghana has indicated its preparedness to submit names of directors, the defunct banks, the securities agencies for the necessary prosecution. Now, this was after the Bank of Ghana's own investigations established that some other banks secured their licenses under false pretense. There is more in the following Business Text report.
The head of banking supervision of the Bank of Ghana, Osei, tells Joy Business they have done the necessary investigations and it is up to the security agencies to act on their findings. The JC has also been justifying the decision to revoke the licenses of these banks, rejecting arguments that it was a political move.
If necessary prompt corrective actions under the law were not taken, which includes what we just did. It was going to expose the taxpayer to higher costs, and it has financial stability implications. It has implications for the economy. There's implications for the financial sector. So we couldn't wait any longer. We had to take the decision that was taken.
On what would happen to the directors of the defunct banks, the head of banking supervision noted that all their directors cannot hold offices because those institutions have been liquidated. The Bank of Ghana is optimistic all these would help put the entire financial system on a strong footing.
And that was a Business Text report. Well, some of the banks are distributing the claims by the Bank of Ghana, insisting that those licenses were not secured under false pretense. Now, Construction Bank, for instance, has maintained that it went through all the right procedures to secure its license. Now, meanwhile, the offices of the defunct Sovereign Bank would serve as the headquarters for the Consolidated Bank Ghana. Now, this is what Joy Business has picked up from persons close to the regulator. The new group chief executive, Daniel Addo, is said to have begun work from that building today. The new bank would also have a minimum capital of 400 million Ghana cedis, as well as $5.6 billion that has been issued in bonds to support the bank's operation. Now, let's still stay in the banking sector, and there are mixed views on how the current development in the banking sector could affect the confidence of depositors. Now, Joy Business has been engaging some of these depositors on these issues on the street of Accra.
Imagine you saving with a bank and the following day you go like your money is not there. Where are you running it?
For me, if I have enough money, I'll go and dig some hole, then put my money inside.
Because you don't trust the bank?
Yes, I don't trust any bank.
Saving in a bank, yeah, I think yes, because of the armed robbers in town now, because you don't know when it will get to your turn. So at least it's good to save in a bank, but sometimes their policies is our problem.
You always feel afraid to send your money to the bank.
What I even advise myself is that I'll look at the age of, like I'll compare my age to maybe look at the other banks that grew past me so that I can, but banks that start from 3 years, I advise myself and I will not save on those banks.
I don't think. I think I would rather find another way of maybe saving my money than even sending it to these banks. So it's scary, honestly.
An interesting view there about from some public members on whether development in the banking sector will affect their dealings with commercial banks. Now, the managing director of GT Bank, Thomas Atajon, has debunked assertions that foreign banks are benefiting from capital flight that hit some of the local banks. Now, the recent challenges has resulted in most depositors moving their funds from local banks to the foreign ones. But the GT Bank boss says this is not the situation on the ground.
Yeah, is there really a foreign bank here? You know, when I hear those things, I'm surprised. If you check the deposit base of the banks here, belong predominantly to Ghanaians. So the concept of foreign local banks is a bit strange on my part. If you think it's the initial shareholders fund that makes you a foreign bank, then you may not be entirely correct. Because what makes you a bank is the Ghanaian deposits in this place. So we see ourselves as Ghanaian banks. So I don't see that dichotomy.
Now, the bank says it actually met the minimum capital requirement. He further disclosed that the bank is not considering major talks with any smaller bank to help grow its assets. Now, the managing director of GT Bank spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of an MOU signed between the Student Loan Trust Fund for the launch of an electronic payment platform for the student loan scheme. The National Petroleum Authority, in collaboration with the National Security, has arrested 13 persons suspected to be a cartel involved in the smuggling of petroleum products. The suspects were arrested following a tip-off that these persons were actually taking fuels in ships to drums as well as gallons around the shores of the Aflao region in the Volta region. In a related development, 4 persons have also been arrested in the Eastern Naval Command for engaging illegal siphoning of fuel from 2 canoe tanks to actually a tanker around the Tema fishing harbour. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you.
Thank you very much, George. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Let's take some of your comments that you've sent in. This one from Baba Chairman in Tamale says, the managers of the collapsed banks and the supervisory body of the BOG must be held to answer questions and if found culpable, be sanctioned. This one also says, from Techi Menu in Kaswa, tell the Commissioner of Insurance to learn from what the Bank of Ghana is doing. Some of the insurance companies are even worse than the banks, especially, okay, it names some of them. And this one also from Abraham says, it's surprising to hear NDC General Secretary asking party candidates to be modest in their campaign. Who are they trying to deceive? And this one from Sam in Ireland said, I think we have to act now. Every sector of the economy needs a strong regulatory machinery to prevent this in the future. And Sami in DC says the collapse of these banks also tells the state of the economy. And Michael Amening in the UK says it's good news that Madame Jean Mensah and her 2 deputies have been sworn into office to see the affairs of the EC, and we urge them to discharge their constitutionally mandated duties effectively.
Well, a close confidant to the president, Gabia Sarachodako, was reporting the revised controversial Mary deal is off. In a tweet Thursday, the lawyer quoted a story by the Statesman newspaper with the headline, New Mary deal is off. Gabia Sarachodako was a former editor of the Statesman newspaper himself, which is a pro-government newspaper. Majorland.com cannot independently confirm whether or not the Mary deal is off, at least not yet, but the paper states information from impeccable sources. And of course, my own colleague, presidential correspondent Elton Brobe, has also been working his sources on this. Elton, what do we know?
So we've been speaking to some persons in government, some members on the Finance and Energy and Mines Committee of Parliament. What we know is that yesterday, after the swearing in of the EC boss, information we picked is that there was a meeting which was also attended by the Energy Minister, where this particular matter was discussed. Now, sources are telling us that there's a directive for the agreement to be taken out of Parliament. Remember that the agreement was laid before Parliament, before the House went on recess. So it is now a business before the House of Parliament. And Cabinet is currently meeting. We are told that they will firm up the decision on the withdrawal. But we've been told that the directive has already been given as to when the withdrawal will be done, because Parliament is on recess. We'll have to wait till October. That is unless government consider this an urgent matter that has to be taken immediately. So that is what this information.
And from what we also understand, this cabinet meeting, the energy minister will formally present,
of course,
the position, the documents they had used to put together this contract, and then it will be interrogated by his colleagues.
The interesting thing about this is that Parliament, as a body, has no power whatsoever to initiate any business on its own. Any business before Parliament for consideration, the assumption is that it had received the blessing and approval of the executive, in this case, even the president,
but
before such business can take place on the floor of Parliament.
This particular review contract had received executive approval.
Exactly the point. So before the business is put before Parliament, it means that it had gone through all the stages, including approval from the president. Yeah. So everybody was on the known before the matter was put before Parliament. You can only withdraw it with a formal application to the Speaker of Parliament before that can be done. But I'm told that Cabinet is asking for more particulars on this matter, especially when concerns have been raised about the original document, about the original agreement, the options that were available to government decision to settle on a third option, which means that, from what some experts have said, we will pay more than what they criticize the NDC administration for. These are the issues that is engaging Cabinet's attention, and then they will take a decision and inform the country.
So we'll get to know what the government, what Cabinet's decision is on this. But if they decide, as the statesman has reported, to kill it, and they have to withdraw the document from Parliament, Parliament is on recess. How does the procedure?
So they will have to wait till October, unless they can make a case that is an urgent matter that will require that some persons might have to sign a petition invoking provisions in the standing order to get a speaker to recall Parliament for mid-break and then put the matter before them. If they don't want to go through this particular road, they will have to wait till October when the House is in full session. And then the Energy Minister can make a formal application to the Speaker and then withdraw the document.
Yesterday, a couple of days back, we heard from the Deputy Information Minister at a news conference stating that government will take a second look. And, of course, in the wake of the criticism, we would like to examine all the facts before they make a firm decision. Good job, Nkrumah.
Honour Mary, I think it's a very simple position. Government is going through a process of reviewing a proposal that has been received. The proposal essentially is to novate and amend what you would call the old Ameri structure. It's been tabled before one of the arms of government, Parliament, currently. And as you are aware, Parliament is going through the process of validating the numbers that have been put before us. What I can tell you is that in the end, whatever will be done should and would be in the best interest of our country. I heard somebody make a comment on all of our media platforms that if indeed the administration was minded to railroad this through with the numbers that we have in Parliament, by the time it arrived here, you would have seen it literally passed without much issue. But even in spite of the numbers, we are committed to ensuring that the process of government works smoothly. We're examining the data. Government acting through Parliament has not finished with the work, and in the end, when we are done, we'll update the nation on what is in the best interest. But I think we can relax and keep the views being expressed. I do know that people have seen the document and are expressing their views and are doing their own analysis. That's the essence of the democracy that we have. That's what the president talks about when he says that we should be citizens and not spectators. And in the end, government would arrive at a final posture which will be communicated to all of us.
So let's break it down for you very quickly. And Elton is still here with me. Elton, so what is it in the previous Ameri agreement that government intends to review?
All right, so the original deal is costing Ghana $510 million. That's $102 million per year for the next 5 years. Now, issues raised with the original deal, technology and possible inefficiency, those were some of the issues government raised. That Ameri is not a combined cycle. It uses only natural gas. Running it is quite expensive. Timing the plant came at a time when the doomsday situation was improving. So 5 years was just too long. Now, what's the current situation? $171 million has been paid as of July 31st, 2018. What we owe Ameri now is $91 million. We need to pay $255 million for the next 2 years. When we add the $255 million to $91 million, the total liability is about $346 million. Renegotiation became necessary because of the issues raised by current government. Government cannot afford to pay the $102 million every year. Tariff is too high, the plan is inefficient, private sector is the best to manage the thermal plant. So government decided to settle on option 3, which is get the private sector organizations through competitive bidding to pay off Ameri and restructure the current agreement into an agreed number of years. Government selected option 3, like I said earlier. but they decided to go for sole sourcing.
That's where the Metaninos came in.
It didn't come in. The private company, Metaninos, will pay $52 million to government, and government will in turn pay $39 million of the existing $91 million debt and take over the remaining future obligation of about $300 million. In exchange, we'll pay the company $75 million per annum for the next 15 years. In the previous deal, the cost was shared between government, VRA, and ECG. Now, in this current one, VRA will bear the entire cost. Remember, VRA has made profits since 2013. It owed Ghana Gas some $434 million as of December 2016, and it owes other people. There are advantages and disadvantages, but overall, experts are of the view that what we are entering in is quite expensive.
And the VRA staff are already stated they are opposed to this. So listen to News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Evans Mensah.
And I am MF Apo.
And joining us now is Babs. Hello, Baba.
Hi, Evans.
What's in sports tonight?
Okay. Good news for Ghana's preparations towards the hosting of the 2018 Women's AFCON. But first, let me tell you about your club, Accra Hatsufuk. Okay, so regular football activities are on a halt following an injunction from government after a spy project carried out by investigative journalist Anas Arimia now suggested some level of corruption in the game. But for Hatsufuk, it's business as usual. Their interim head coach, Seth Hoffman, says the halt in football will in no way stop him and his team from giving off their best, even at training.
It's a program that they know. And they know that as a player, not the league is there. Initially, any good news can come. Whether a club needs you, you have to go for trials or medicals. So anytime you have to be in a good shape. Yeah, you have to be in a good shape. So, and playing body, whatever they need, the club have to give it to them. The club is doing it for them. So that's how they are working. But they are taking care of themselves. They are professional. They are taking care of themselves. They know what to do and what they will not do. Things they have to sleep early, what they have to eat, what they're not supposed to eat.
So that's with Hatsufuk. Now, I've been talking about the fact that, Ghana stands being stripped of the hosting rights of the 2018 Women's AFCON because of, certain infrastructure that are still lagging behind time, and the fact that CAF may not be too happy, for which reason they have put South Africa on standby, on red alert if Ghana fails to be ready. But there have been some updates, and so at the Accra Sports Stadium, for instance, grassing has been completed, and maintenance of the grass is needed to get the pitch in, total shape, and that started earlier today at the Elwak Stadium, which is one of the training pitches. 85% of grass cover and grassing will be completed by tomorrow, August 3. Then Presec pitch, that's also another one of the training grounds. Dressing room had issues. It's been completed at the Cape Coast Stadium, which is another hosting venue. Grassing is completed and maintenance has actually started. The Indom Stadium is also another training center. Grassing is completed and maintenance has already started. Then we go to the Robert Mensah Stadium in Cape Coast. That also has had its grassing done and maintenance has started. And then earlier today we were informed that 2 new members have been added to the local organizing committee. So the chief operating officer for CAN 2008, when Ghana actually hosted Mr. Magnus Rex Dankwa, and a former director of sports at the University of Ghana, Dr. Osuansa, they have now been inducted as members of the local organizing committee. So it looks like we're still on course to host. South Africa will not be giving our opportunity. We will still, have the rights to host 13 other African countries. What's your problem?
That's good news actually for us.
We'll host the rest of Africa from November 17 to December 1.
We're looking forward to that, and we're also looking forward to
the Sports Invitational.
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm still not convinced. MFA doesn't like the name Olili, so we have to change it. So what's your new name?
I want Andrea You.
Andrea You. You want Andrea
that's like the third name you've mentioned to me already.
You want him or you want the name?
No. So she will represent Andrea Ayew on the 1st of September.
Okay.
You say you are Lukaku, so that's for you.
Yeah. Evans Lukaku.
I wonder if
Mensah.
you can do.
I can do everything he does. Score goals.
1/32 of what
that's all he
Lukaku
does. Score goals. Lukaku is you know what he does.
Evans, can you throw your legs?
Have you seen me in the gym?
Do you think the gym is a football park?
Well, it takes the gym. It takes
the gym is different, please.
The gym.
We can all gym.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm
listening.
No.
You think we'll bring treadmills onto the Lizzie Sports Complex pitches and all of that? No. We're playing soccer, like
when
soccer.
the game starts.
And you know what Lukaku does?
He scores goals.
Yes.
I will score goals.
You don't have to be Achunaye. We don't want Achunaye.
That's what I will do.
If you know Achunaye. So you just stay in front of the post, and then once they supply you the ball, you just
score. That's all.
That's all you need to do.
You are lazy. You have to go and work.
Baba, thank you very much.
Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority has been asked to enforce the law to ensure Ghana Bauxite Company pays the highest interest penalties if its audit implicates the mining firm of transfer pricing. Now, the GRA and the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, John Peter Amewu, in their interim assessment of the company's records, accused it of possible transfer pricing. It follows a Joy News investigation which revealed the company has failed to pay penalty charges of up to $90 million as well as corporate tax. We can hear from William Owusu-Demishia, who is a tax expert. He's been telling Joy News the law makes provision for such sanctions to serve as a deterrent.
Well, the law itself provides for sanctions. Now, it says that whenever an audit is done to ascertain the true pricing, and then we found out that you underdeclared or you charge below the price, the law gives the Commissioner General of Ghana Revenue Authority the power to impose interest and penalties as if the person had underpaid taxes under our law. And so that is what we need to, and under the Revenue Administration Act, which was passed in 2016. Now, the sanctions for failure to pay tax on due date are very high. It's 125% of the Bank of Ghana's discount rate, compounded monthly. So it's very punitive. And so what we need to do, or what we need to see, is Ghana Revenue Authority applying the full force of the law to ensure that they get maximum interest penalties for the breaches that these entities have engaged in. And going ahead, given the punitive nature of the interest and penalty, it will serve as a deterrent from engaging in those activities. Because if you're paying huge penalties and interest which you cannot deduct for tax purposes, then you would know that you have to conform to the law and not pay those penalties and interest in the future. So it comes back to my point that there are enough laws in our books to be able to address it. There's the issue of beneficial ownership in company law, of having the beneficial owner register. There's also transfer pricing regulations with its attendant interest and penalty provisions.
So you heard that William Owusu-Demishia. Meanwhile, government is inviting corporate entities and individuals interested in setting up a bauxite refinery to begin talks over the venture. Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Amewu announced that Ninahin, Chebi and Awaso have enough bauxite reserves that can power a long-term refinery. He made the announcement during a day's visit to the Ghana Bauxite Company in Awaso.
If you combine Ninahin, Chebi, and then this, current site that we have extensive reserves that will enable, creations and formations of a refinery. So I think we will call on companies that are interested to begin to talk to the government and see how we can establish a refinery that, of course, will benefit both the company and then the Ghanaians as a general, rather than taking it out of its current raw stage. So the way forward is going into refinery. In the gold industry, plans are far advanced to start refining 30% of the gold. I'm sure by November we should be able to execute that agreement where 30% of the Ghana's gold from those mining companies will be refined. So these are some of the things that we're doing in terms of the value addition.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Amewu. Evans, growing up, what did you want to become?
Well, I wanted to become an actor.
Hey.
Yes.
Not a rapper. I thought you were
Yeah, eventually I changed my mind. I wanted to become a musician and a rapper, and then I ended up in journalism. But we're all motivated by different things, were we not? I mean, I'm sure you were motivated to be a pastor.
No, I wanted to be a soldier.
A soldier, yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, and it was no different for Peter Tobu, who was driven to join the police service after thieves stole his father's sheep. For him, justice for his father was to become a police officer, investigate the theft, and perhaps get the thieves behind bars. Rafiq Salam has a story of Peter, who is now a Deputy Superintendent of Police and the Executive Secretary to the Inspector General of Police. Listen.
Getting recruited into the police service will require some level of education and lot of walking. In Peter Tobu's case, at the age 12, he had to walk 8 kilometers a day from his native Poyentanga in the Denwa district to attend middle school at Taningna Daily. He was, however, not perturbed by the distance despite his diminutive nature.
Education brings illumination, and that illumination can give you a lot of opportunities and you will become a better person in life. Without education, we don't have development. And without development, all of us will suffer.
Today, Peter Tubu is the Executive Secretary to the Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service, David Asante Apietu.
So I wanted to become an STC driver until one day my father's sheep went grazing, 36 of them, and not a single one came back. Thieves stole the sheep, and it was hurting. I saw my father weeping because that was the property that he had, a foundation that he could use to support us in our education. He had nothing again. And from that day, I decided, if I can have the opportunity when I grow up to ensure that elements of this nature, thieves, criminals, and robbers, are weeded out of society, I should be able to support Ghana do that.
Proud and happy about his modest beginning and where he has reached now, Peter Tubo bought 4 computers valued at 5,000 Ghana cedis and presented them to the basic schools he attended.
And Rafiq Salam filed that report. I did not get to become an actor. Maybe
Neither
one
did
day.
I get to become
It's not late for me, really. I'm still exploring the option. Yeah,
action.
Maybe I would do proper Hollywood, you know.
We'll see.
Yes. That's it for News Night tonight. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am MF Fapo.
We're going live now to Greater Works.